Hello YouTube, this is Thomas Judge, and back once again with the very final video in this Superman reading order. This isn't part of the reading guide, so if you're not interested, feel free just to tune out now. But I just wanted to do a bit of an epilogue video here and also show you some behind the scenes on how I made this reading guide and talk about plans for the future as well. So thanks for tuning in. This is the end of really kind of two combined interweaving playlists. There was an introductory video, video 0, and then there were 14 videos of the Superman reading order of every Superman issue from 91 up until 2011, so 20 years of comics. And I interwove that with 11 DC events. We are now done. Those playlists are on my channel. Those maps are available on my website. And just wanted to say thanks, everyone. Thanks for the support. Thanks for everyone who watched. Thanks for everyone who's been patient and been hanging around waiting for this series. And yeah, it's been a blast. Just wanted to say that. And I also just wanted to give you, like I say, a little bit of an insight into the origins, behind the scenes, and what we're going to do next. So, with the thanks out of the way, just to point out as well, the book is on sale. And by the book, I mean the written guide to all the DC events and the Superman issues. As I've said before, and obviously I'll say in the outro for this video, there's nothing in that book that isn't in the actual video guides, but it is useful. Hopefully you'll find it interesting. I put some effort into kind of composing it and putting it together, and it's already sold several dozen copies. It's only had the one review so far, but it's had several dozen copies already over the last couple of weeks, so I'm glad that people are finding it useful. One of the things that I've been asked a few times over the last couple of weeks, and I guess generally for my channel with my big impact reading guides, is people ask how I do those reading guides, like how I put in the effort and the time, how I get started. And so what I want to do was just show you a bit of a throwback moment from a video that I actually recorded maybe about a year ago, just as I was pulling together all the information that I needed to even inform what single issues and trade paperbacks I needed to get hold of to even start the actual reading. And I dug this out and I found this video knocking around and I thought you might get a kick out of it. So with no further ado, let's have a throwback to, I guess, my comic reading map origin story.
Alright YouTube, so this is a little bit of behind the scenes. Some people wonder how I do my reading orders and how I get them together. Well, this is part one. What I do is I put lots and lots and lots of brown paper on a wardrobe and then I just start working it out. So my Superman reading order, which I'm assuming at this point I've actually made videos of and I've stuck up on the interwebs. So this is how it starts. I start mapping out the numbers. I start working out where the different arcs fit in. I start having question marks and asterisks and trying to fill in the blanks, and I mean, this is back in the days of Comixology, which is really helpful to work out what was curated and how. But yeah, this is kind of how I start, and then yeah, on to the next bit, which is this strip of paper, which goes down for ages, and again, just sort of working out what the events are, which issues are part of what event, to some extent trying to work out what sequence issues are within each event, and then trying to work out what's connective issues. I should point out most of this is incorrect in some way or other, but this is a good starting point because you've got to do it step by step. You can't start off with just thousands of single issues and then work out the perfect order. You've got to just break it down to phases, work out what's wrong with what you've done with each phase, correct it, improve it, and then eventually read it and then work out what's wrong again, because like you'll know from all my reading orders, the only way to know a reading order of something is to read it, and that's why I don't really trust most of the reading orders I find on other websites, because you got to do it yourself. So that, and then we've got this massive one here. Geez, look at this. So this one is just all the numbers, again, all the way down, all the different sections. You can see here the number of Superman series like really substantially drops. To just 2 series, but then you've got like New Krypton and how that works, and that breaks up into its own thing, which I found out later. This is like split into like 5 different sections here in New Krypton, but there's like the Black Ring, there's Straczynski's Grounded arc, there's just loads of stuff, and this is kind of how I start. Pen, paper, basically pin it to a wall and just try to work out in one massive singular kind of event. This took me about maybe 4 or 5 hours to do, maybe a bit longer, to be honest, but did all this myself. Worked out what was going on, and then what I start doing is I start like curating them and putting them into blocks, and just this is the first step basically. But yeah, so this is what is it they say? This is how it started, and now what you'll be seeing is how it's going.
And this is where it ended up, with a full series of 25 videos, events, Superman videos, the whole works. As you can see from that origin video, which is a little bit cringy, I guess, I had no idea how far this was going to spin out of my control. I wasn't, I guess, aware that it was going to end up being this complex 14 tab Google sheet. I wasn't even splitting things up into distinct eras, which I did eventually as I started reading it. And I honestly didn't think I'd end up having to read all these DC events as well. So it's interesting looking back and seeing, I guess, how much I hadn't realized how big a task I was taking on. That said, I would have done it anyway. It's just interesting seeing how I always underestimate these kind of reads and what to do next. So yeah, I hope that was interesting. In terms of next steps and what to do next on the channel, well, for a start, if you've been reading this and you've been reading the reading guides from 91 to 2011, obviously in 2011 we then have Flashpoint. Now, I'm not going to talk about the New 52 or Flashpoint because I've already done that. A few years ago, I dropped a 31 video series on my channel covering all 3,600 issues of the New 52. That takes us all the way up to DC Rebirth in 2060. If you're interested, please do check out the playlist there. It remains to this day the most exhaustively detailed and comprehensive reading guide to New 52 on the internet. And I guess now I also have the internet's most detailed guide to Superman and to DC events, which is kind of crazy to think about. But what am I doing next? Well, having done the Superman guide, that was kind of a warm up for me. And now the next big thing I'm working on is the DC Rebirth guide. Yes, I am working on it. Yes, I've had hundreds of motherfuckers contact me over the last few years asking where my DC Rebirth guide is. It's going to come when it's ready. It's going to come when it's done. I've generally ignored a lot of those requests because people were asking me to do DC Rebirth guides whilst DC Rebirth was still an ongoing branding. So it was just nonsensical. Like, how on earth can I do a guide for something that's still ongoing at the time? But DC Rebirth is now done. It kind of ended a year or two ago, I guess. And I've started the reading. I've got loads of it collected physically, and I've already made a big chunk of the guide, of the written guide of the materials, and I've started planning it all out with much more a forethought than I have previously. So that is definitely coming along. In terms of right now, it is January 2024. I have read all of the Justice League stuff, all the Suicide stuff, Teen Titans, all the major events, including Year of the Villain, which was absolutely massive. And I'm currently plowing through Batman. I've also read a lot of the spin offs, the Elseworlds, and the other stuff. So it's definitely coming together, and it's my big focus for this year. What I anticipate is hopefully having it ready by the end of the year. So having another sort of December unveiling of an entire map and the full reading guide. And of course, if the Superman guide sells well, I would even put that up on Amazon as well and have a DC Rebirth written guide. If you're keen on a DC Rebirth written guide, and you want to support that, then please pick up the Superman written guide because that's literally the only way that I know those written guides are worth doing. It's not just a matter of throwing my rough scripts up on Amazon. I have to format them, rewrite them, make sure they all look good and work well as books, and that is a fair amount of effort. So please, if you are interested in getting a written guide for DC Rebirth when I drop those videos, then encourage me by, I guess, voting with your wallet, just picking up the Superman guide, which I think is something like 80 cents or something like that. So I can just see that there is actually a market for it. Like I say, the Superman book is a proof of concept, and it would be interesting to do that for DC Rebirth. Quite looking forward to doing the DC Rebirth guide. It's been fun reading so far. So thanks everyone who's expressed an interest in it. Thanks everyone who's been overzealously asking where it is, even when the Rebirth era hadn't finished. And people that have been asking for it more recently. Yep, it is coming. And what I would recommend is please do read all of the New 52 before you start DC Rebirth, because it feels like one is a direct sequel to the next. What else is going on? Batman. Everyone loves Batman. A Batman reading order is not coming, I'm afraid, or isn't coming for a very, very long time. I said at the start of this series that I would do one if I got 500 five-star reviews for the Superman book. I've got one five-star review, which is great, but that's nowhere near enough. So I will be doing more reading orders, and I do think some more DC reading orders are in order. What I'd like to do is I'm kind of torn between doing one for Wonder Woman or doing one for Aquaman next because they're both characters I really, really enjoy. Um, so that's probably what's going to come next, but that would come after DC Rebirth. Of course, if you want to incentivize me or push me to do a Batman reading guide, like I say, let's aim for 500 reviews for the Superman book. But I don't see that happening. I'm not particularly keen on that because Batman does seem to be a massive undertaking. I just wanted to put that out here though because everyone's going to ask. What else is going on with the channel apart from reading guides? I'm going to be dropping some videos of some new customs. I've actually got some leftover Valiant custom hardcovers that I'm going to be dropping videos of over the next few weeks. So we'll just drop one a week and just kind of fill in the rest of the ones. I think people watching my Valiant playlist, which is the most comprehensive playlist on the internet for Valiant comics, I say that all the time, but it's true. Um, I'll be dropping some more videos on that playlist, and people that have been watching that playlist know there's a couple of customs on my shelf I haven't had a chance to talk through yet, so I'll be doing that. As well as that, as of Monday, I'm going to be releasing a new weekly series. So what I did for the last year and a half, I did a weekly series of every single Valiant hardcover, partly because no one else had done it, and partly to force myself to read my Valiant comics. Well, this time round, I'm going to start doing a weekly series of the entirety of the Fables universe. So Fables is DC, technically Vertigo, and I've got all the hardcovers and all the spin-offs. So we're going to be going through every single Fables hardcover and all the rest of it. Ever After, Fairest, the video game, the spin-offs, all that sort of stuff is all going to get covered. One episode a week, and that's going to be a series that I'm toying with the name Till the Fabled End. But if anyone else can come up with a better name, please do let me know. And finally, of course, in this little spare time that I have left, I am still working on my novel. I've written 4 novels in a series called No Gods or Kings. That ended in, or that ended, or the fourth one came out in 2019. I then had some pretty catastrophic personal problems, which I'm not going to go into, that essentially derailed my entire life for several years. I'm now back in the saddle. I am working on the fifth volume. I absolutely, utterly guarantee volume 5, which is called Army of One, is going to be published on Amazon Kindle this year. Absolutely guarantee that. And again, I'd really appreciate any support from anyone watching. All right. Um, the last thing to say, yeah, I guess is just thanks for everyone's support on this. It's always a bit of a challenge with a YouTube channel like this, and this is just me just being real with you. It's always a bit of a challenge with a YouTube channel like this to try to work out how much I want engagement and support. I'm not really emotionally well equipped to deal with things like Reddit and Facebook and Discord, and that's why I don't go on those, just because of a lot of social anxiety and mental health issues that I have. Being in that kind of very labile social media environment is really emotionally taxing for me. YouTube kind of works for me on the basis that I know I only have about 10 human beings that actually watch my channel, and all the rest of it are Russian bots, and that's absolutely fine. That keeps it quite low pressure for me. I only create what I want to create. I only create it when I want to create it. YouTube is not my occupation. I get no money from it whatsoever. I just do it for the pleasure of doing it. At the same time, I do want to get more reach, but I don't want to compromise the integrity of the channel. I refuse to do clickbait thumbnails. I refuse to do highly polarizing social justice warrior, woke, go broke, go woke, whatever sort of comic news or clickbait like that. I'm not trying to specifically generate algorithmic engagement by pacing out my videos in particular ways or changing the metadata or the tags and all that sort of stuff. I just want a small hardcore group of people that are like me, that enjoy my content. But at the same time, it's also very enticing and very appealing to try to increase that reach and try to maybe change my thumbnails or get professional voiceovers in or have more contentious topics or all these sorts of things. I thought of doing that for several years. I'm going to continue fight off doing that because, as I say, I want to kind of keep the integrity and the principle of the channel. But as such, if you're one of my dozen or so human subscribers and you do appreciate the fact that I'm trying to keep some degree of principled behavior and artistic integrity to this channel, then yeah, please do share. If you're in the Facebook groups, if you're in the Discord, if you're in stuff like Omnibros Live or all these sorts of things, then please do just kind of spread the love because it would be great to see more traction just to the content that I'm putting out. That said, irrespective of what the engagement is over the next year, I will be pumping out various videos. I will be doing the various reading maps I've talked about. Wish me luck, both for publication of my fifth book and for creation of the DC Rebirth map, amongst other things. There will be other random, weird, and wonderful stuff that I do. I'm potentially going to be doing a video about emulation, or rather a video series about video game emulation, which I've been doing for the last sort of 12 to 15 months. By doing, I mean I've been doing video game emulation for the last 10 to 15 months, and I've learned loads about it that's not elsewhere on the internet. And I'm going to be putting a series out on that at some point this summer, maybe. So stuff will be coming. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for listening to the self-indulgent sort of meander. And yeah, we'll get back to our more regularized weekly content next week. Until then, everyone, stay classy. And there we have it. In case you're interested in knowing where these resources are, so the guides, the maps, and so on, they're all available on my website. They're all available for free. You can go into the website, which is nogodsorkings.com, and download the Google Sheet for the Superman reading order, or you can go on the website and look at these reading maps for all the various DC events and a whole bunch of other things I've got on there to your heart's desire. If, however, you are interested in a written version of this guide, then it is available on Amazon. I've recently just self-published it. It is the cheapest possible tier you can get on Amazon. So it's 79 pence UK, 99 cents American, and so on. It's free if you're on Kindle Unlimited, and there is a free sample on the website as well. The reason I put this onto Amazon is kind of a proof of concept. I'm interested to see if people are interested in the written guides, whether or not people want to pick them up. And also it's a good way for me to bat off all the people that are going to be in the comments asking for a Batman guide. If you want a Batman guide, I don't really particularly have any interest in doing one, but I will do one if this book gets 500 reviews. So if this book gets 500 5-star reviews, then I will start doing a Batman reading guide at some point. I don't think that's going to happen, but there we are. Of course, feel free to support the channel by picking this up. Of course, like, comment, and subscribe. But as always, the best way to support the channel is by picking up one of my other books, which isn't a non-fiction reading guide. It's actually a fictional, completely original superhero story. It's prose, so not a comic or words, but it's about superheroes in just a really interesting kind of post-apocalyptic dystopic idea. The first 4 books of the series are out, and if you want to support, please pick that up. Thanks for watching. Until next time, stay classy.